Hey y'all, and welcome to the Hillbilly Chicken Ranch. I'm Susan, I'm your hostess, and today we're going to make something that is one of my favorite things in the world to have on hand. It's something that we always had on hand in our household when I was a child, and the recipe used to be on the back of the Hershey's cocoa mix, and it was, the recipe was for chocolate sauce, which is richer because it has a fat in it, but my mother always made it as a syrup without the fat. So we're going to do the recipe up, and it's very simple to make. You're going to need a saucepan, and you're going to need something to stir with. You're going to need your measurements. You're going to need a couple of measuring spoons, sugar, cocoa, water, vanilla, salt, and a little bit of cooking. So we're going to get this started. I'm going to start by combining all my ingredients, which would be the sugar and the cocoa. We're going to start with that, and I'm going to leave the vanilla out until last. We're going to get this combined in the skillet, in the saucepan. Okay. All I'm going to do is I'm going to stir this around and break up any lumps that I might see to try to combine the two, because cocoa is going to lump up once you add the water to it. So you want to try to break up some of those lumps before you get started. And this is 1 cup of sugar, 1/2 cup of cocoa, and I'm going to add 1 cup of water. And before I add my water, I'm going to add 1/8 teaspoon or just a pinch of salt, and you can use any kind of salt that you have on hand. That just takes the bitterness out of the cocoa. Excuse my arm for reaching. I'm going to go ahead and mix that in here too. That recipe used to always be on the cocoa labels, and for some reason they took it off. That's alright, we're going to make it anyway. So I'm going to add my water in. Everything is cold. The water's cold. My saucepan's cold, and of course my ingredients are at room temperature. And I'm just going to mix this in. Now there's a big controversy over whether you can chocolate syrup or not. Hershey's been selling this stuff canned for forever, but it is a big controversy, so I'm not canning mine. Okay, I've got it pretty much mixed in. I'm going to turn my burner on. I'm going to get this up to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, we're going to let it boil for 1 minute, and then we're going to remove it from the heat. So we're just going to continue to mix and break up any lumps that we see in here while we're waiting for it to get up to a boil. And Mother always let it come to a rolling boil. This will thicken as it sits, and I know a lot of places online says it'll last up to 2 weeks in your refrigerator. Well, I've had it last a lot longer in the refrigerator than 2 weeks. And we've never had any problems with it. So, but it never lasts more than 2 or 3 weeks anyway, but it can last probably up to a month. And the best part of making it yourself is you're saving money, and you know exactly what's going in it. There's no added anything. And if you don't have the Hershey's cocoa, of course you can use any kind of Dutch cocoa that's out on the market. It's just really a good cocoa product. And I usually taste it at this point. I want to make sure that I've got enough salt in there because I don't want a bitter syrup product. And that's perfect. Go ahead and get my measuring cups out of the way, and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. We're starting to come to a simmer, and at this point our syrup is really weak. It's very thin. And we are at a boil. See if you can see it better at that angle. We are at a boil. I'm going to set my timer for 1 minute. And I'm going to turn my burner down at this point because I don't want to burn it. Now, my mother made this for me when I was a child, and I carried on the tradition, and my daughters always had this in the refrigerator growing up. It was something real easy that I can make, and it didn't cost me a fortune to make it. It was actually a lot cheaper than buying the Hershey's syrup in the stores, and it's really good over homemade ice cream, or how my mother would serve it to me after she first made it was she would take a piece of white bread and put butter on top of it, and she would pour some of the syrup that was left in the pot over the bread, and you would think you were in hog heaven because it was so tasty. But syrup really comes in handy. You can use it on pancakes, you can use it on waffles. You can dress up a lot of desserts with a good syrup. You can also reheat this and add fat to it, and you have your sauce. Okay, my timer's going off, and I'm turning my burner off. And I have already measured out my 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And I'm adding it in. I'm just going to stir this, and I'm going to allow it to cool for about a minute or two, and then we're going to jar it up. Get all that good vanilla extract in there. This is one time I would say don't use the imitation vanilla. You really want to use that good vanilla extract. It makes the flavor so much better. So let me get my jar ready and we'll be right back. Now my mother always said to temper your jar. Even if you have a hot jar, to temper it, because this is boiling hot. And that would simply mean putting some in and swirling it, just to get that jar heated up to the temperature of your syrup. And we have homemade chocolate syrup in the jar. I'm going to bring you down so you can see it close up. Well, y'all, I mean, this is really, really good at this point. The bread is just saturated. It's a really good way to use up some of your stale bread. See, it soaks through the bread. This brings back so many good family memories. And you can make chocolate milk. You could add it to vanilla ice cream and serve it over ice cream and have a sundae. You can make a milkshake with it, with vanilla ice cream, and have a really good chocolate milkshake. My mother would even serve this syrup over white cake that she had made. I wish y'all could taste this. It's so good. It really is so, so good. I can't stop eating it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you.